And we are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Well, here we are. Here we are at the live stream, finally starting. You know, I did not want to be late this time. So I was racing out. I was like, I think I have time to hang my washing out on the line. Nope, I didn't. So I got half of it done. The rest of the laundry is sitting next to me. By the end of this stream, it's going to have that sort of wet bread smell that fills up the room, but it doesn't matter because I enjoyed the last live stream so much. I did not want to be late for this one. Plus, the live stream kind of kicked off like 2 minutes early. It was like, "Oh, you ready to go live?" I was like, "Come on, 2 minutes. Come on." Okay, so welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the second live stream. As I said, I loved the last one so much. For newcomers who might not be watching this live, if you go down to the description or you look in the comment section, you'll find timestamps pinned there. So you can skip to whichever part of the video you want, whether it's just the review, whether you want to jump right to the call-in section at the end. And I got to admit, I really, really, really enjoyed the call-in section last time. It was so much fun. Can't wait to do it again. So if you're listening and you are live, you can be one of the ones who calls in. All you got to do is just send me an email at banditincorporated@gmail.com. Let me type that in the chat. Stupid keyboard. banditincorporated@gmail.com. Okay, there we go. Right, so everything's working. Yep, you guys in the chat, you can all hear me okay? Just I'll give it a few seconds for some chats to come up. I'm just worried that my technology curse might get the better of us and I could be sitting here just talking for like an hour into a microphone with nobody hearing. So you guys in the chat, you can hear? Yeah? Yes. Okay, thanks, Diego Gonzalez. All right. Marvel Matter says, I want Trey and Bandit to bicker like an old couple. I did send Trey the link. He'll probably be calling in later. He hasn't seen Creed 2, so I'll probably call in later. I've also invited some other people. But so if any of you guys who want to call in the second half, you can. Now, last time we did this, we did ask the question, like, do you want me to go straight spoilers or do you want me to have a non-spoiler section first? Let me know in the comment section. Do you want me to go straight into spoilers? Because I deliberately left the stream for an extra week just so that everyone can see the movie. I mean, I waited just so everyone could see the movie, and that way we could talk spoilers. We don't need to worry about spoiling anyone. But, you know, it's kind of a pick your poison kind of thing. If we wait the extra week, then we could talk openly about it, and we don't need to worry about spoiling anyone. But if we wait the extra week, people don't care about the movie as much anymore because it's like a week ago in internet time. That's like 10 years ago.
Hello.
So, yep, you guys in the chat saying you want spoilers? Straight up spoilers. All right. Well, let us begin.
Hello.
Creed 2.
I don't know.
Creed 2, as we all know, is the follow-up to the first Creed movie. And Adonis Creed, or Donnie, as he's called, Adonis Creed, he's the champ now. He's the champ. He wins the championship early in the movie by beating up the guy who actually beat him up in the previous movie. In fact, let me show you, because I got screenshots to go along with this, so it's not totally boring. Where is it? How do I do share screen sheets? There it is. Screen share. Share. There we go. So we got some images up. So it's not just staring at my stupid cat with the pulsating volume levels coming out of it. So the movie starts with him fighting the same guy, this guy here, Danny Wheeler, from the first movie. I loved those little details, the attention to details. Danny Stopman Wheeler, 18 wins by knockout, second pound for pound greatest boxer in the world, and he flattens Creed in the first movie. And Creed put up his Mustang for that, and this guy obviously walks away with his Mustang. By the time that Creed 2 starts, Adonis is now the #1 contender, and he's fighting this guy for the championship. And once again, they bet the Mustang. Put the picture up because you might not know this guy, because he was just like a brief character in the first one, and then they put him in again. Plus, he had a beard and stuff, so he looked kind of different. But I love that attention to detail. I really love that. But this Creed 2, it's a story about the return. Just to give an overview before we jump into it. It's a story of sort of the return of the Dragos, of Ivan Drago, Dolph Lundgren, along with his son Victor Drago. Do I have a pick for that? Yep, there's that one. I'm getting ahead now. There it is. So I'll just skip all the way forward. I did not put those in chronological order. It's about the return of the Dragos, and they're looking for revenge on Adonis Creed for his father dying. It connects with the theme of the Rocky movie, which the thing to understand about all the Rocky movies, and even though it's a Creed movie, it's a Rocky movie, is it's never really about the fight itself. It's never really about who actually wins the fight, because in the very first, the original Rocky that set the template for everything that followed, Rocky actually loses. Apollo Creed, Donnie's dad, he beats him. He actually wins. But the point of it is that Rocky just keeps getting knocked down, but he just keeps getting back up, and he keeps getting knocked down, but he keeps getting back up, and he doesn't give up. And when you sort of look into some of the stuff that was going on in Sylvester Stallone's life leading up to that, there's some really cool stories about that. Maybe we'll get into that a bit later, actually. But so likewise, this Creed 2 movie, the underlying theme of it is more, at least what I took away from it, is it's not about winning, it's about why you fight in the first place. That seems to be the moral of the story that at least I took away from this movie. And I'll take the images back to the beginning. Yeah, okay, so he fights and he wins the championship, and he's on top of the world. He proposes to his deaf girlfriend, and I think the deaf girlfriend was actually Hulk's girlfriend in Thor Ragnarok. Is that the same actress? I think it probably is. I probably should have looked it up before I started doing this. But yeah, he proposes to her. She gets preggers. So everything's going well, and then boom, the Dragos appear out of nowhere. This nowhere in this place is called the Ukraine, and they appear to challenge him. And I found it interesting that the promoter who tries to put together the fight, he goes up to Adonis and he says, look, there's been something like 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever it was heavyweight champions of the world. But if you ask, he points to the crowd that's there, and he says, if you ask any of them how many they could name, how many could they name? Maybe 3, 4, max, And that's totally true. That's totally true. And he was pointing out the need that, like, there's lots of boxers and there's lots of heavyweight champs, and some are better than others, but we remember the ones that put on a show. We remember the ones that are a living spectacle. I mean, that's why everyone remembers Muhammad Ali. That's why everyone remembers Mike Tyson, even though you could say there's probably a lot of champions since then that are far better than Mike Tyson. But Mike Tyson, he's just such a character. He put on such a show that everybody remembers Mike Tyson, even to the point that when Mr. T showed up in the Rocky movies later on as Clubber Lang, he was basically just doing Mike Tyson. That was the movie's version of Mike Tyson, just like Apollo Creed was the movie universe's version of Muhammad Ali. So, what was I saying? I lost my point. Yeah, okay. So the need for these boxers to put on a show, and like Apollo Creed, he knew how to do that. You saw like Rocky IV when he comes out singing and dancing to "Living in America," like he put on a show. Whereas this Creed, Adonis Creed, he doesn't quite have the showmanship yet. So when that promoter was saying to Donnie, hey, look, you have to do this fight because that's what everyone wants to see. You want to be remembered, right? It's not just your boxing you're going to be remembered for. You've got to put on a show. And I thought, yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. He should. He absolutely should. And Rocky, on the other hand, not too keen on the idea. He's like, look, I'll let your father die when I should have thrown the towel. Really, Rocky, you should have. I mean, I know Apollo kept telling you not to, but just throw it. It's better he's alive later on to be mad at you than, well, I guess if he's dead now, he can't be mad at you. And his wife doesn't seem to be all that angry either. So, yeah, I guess he got away with it. But, oh, God, see, this is a problem with doing live streams. You lose your place. I get distracted. Okay, so they set up the Drago Creed fight. Rocky's not on board with it. Now, they did something in this that really bothered me, and I think I'm like the only person that this bothers, which is they established, let me see if I can get the picture. They established that Rocky's son, you can see him on screen now, he and Rocky don't talk anymore. And in the first movie, that bothered me as well, that they don't talk anymore. Because in the first movie, Adonis, he asks, he looks at a picture of his son. And he's like, oh, what's going on with your son? He's like, oh, I trained him in boxing for a while, but it just wasn't really for him. And, he had to move out of Philly because it was kind of hard for him living here because everyone's like, hey, Rocky son, Rocky son, Rocky son. Now, the thing is that was back in the last movie in which Rocky was the guy who fought at the end. I think that movie, I think it was just called Rocky Balboa. But that whole movie where you see the image on screen is from that whole movie was pretty much about Rocky reconciling with his son, as well as a few other things. But and it had such a great story arc for this son, because you kind of hate the son at the beginning of the movie. You're like, he's a jerk, he's kind of embarrassed by his dad and all this. But by the end of the movie with the son, you can kind of understand where he's coming from. I mean, like, he's trying to sort of get his life together and have his own thing, but he's constantly in the shadow of like, oh, you're Rocky's son. You're going to be like him, or you're not like him. I mean, that must suck. That must suck, being constantly compared to like one of the greatest boxers in this movie universes of all time. People be like, oh, you don't look like him. You probably can't fight either. And I guess he can't. Takes after his mother, I guess, Adrian. But by the end of the movie, they reconcile. And it's really good to see like the change that happens with the son, that the son starts to learn like, look, I got to go and live my own life, but that doesn't mean I need to hate my dad. It doesn't mean I need to be ashamed of my last name or anything like that. And it's a really good progression. And it's great to see this father and son come together. So then when the movie Creed came out and he says the whole thing of like, oh, he's living in a different city, he doesn't want to live here in Philadelphia, I was like, but the whole previous movie was about you reconciling with your son again. Are we just undoing all of that? Like, again, nobody else mentioned this in the reviews, but it bothered me. Maybe it's because I'm a sucker for these father-son kind of stories. I don't know. But I thought that even when he's saying like, oh, my son, he's off doing his other, he's got, he's married, he's living in a different city, whatever. He could have just added one line where he's like, but we talk every Friday night. He gives me a call, we chat. That's all I need. Just that. Just let him know that he's doing what his dad was. He's out there living his life, living in a different city, fair enough. But, him and his dad, they still got a good relationship. They get rid of all that in Creed 2. They don't even talk to each other. And not only do they not talk to each other, they don't even talk to each other to the extent that his son has a daughter of her own who Rocky has never even seen before. What the hell happened between these two since the last movie where they sort of gotten together again, to the point where he has not even seen his grandchild? What's going on with that? And I get it. Like in the last Creed movie, Rocky had the cancer thing and him overcoming that. So he kind of needs a subplot in this. But did they have to ruin his relationship with his son? I mean, I guess it kind of connects with the bigger theme of the movie, which is like, it's more about family and fighting for the right reasons and all that sort of thing. But anyway, like I said, I'm probably the only one who really had a problem with that. But all right, getting back to the movie. So Creed goes in without Rocky's blessing, and he goes in to fight Drago. I'll get the picture up. And he gets absolutely eviscerated because his mind's not together. And Drago, this guy's a beast. I looked him up. He's only like, he's about 6'4". I'm like, dude, I'm 6'4". I don't look like that guy. Maybe I should lift the weights more often instead of doing all the stupid high intensity interval training stuff. That's really, really difficult. But yeah, this guy, he's a beast, and he absolutely demolishes Creed. And I love that he demolished Creed with his shots to the ribs. Body shots need to get more love in the Rocky movies. It's always been about the flashy punches to the face where the slow motion and the face kind of like morphs and the blood flies out and the mouthpiece comes out. Like, that's cool, but it's good to see the body shots getting some love. We've got to get those body shots. Like, they're pretty devastating too, because what was it? Bas Rutten, who was really famous for his liver punches and liver kicks, and they just take down the guy like very, very quickly. He was really good at that. I love that guy. He's awesome. So he gets absolutely eviscerated by Victor Drago, but in his anger, Drago gets himself disqualified, which means the championship doesn't change titles, which was a good change. Now, here we see with Creed's personality, Adonis Creed, we see a bit of his father's personality raising its head. We see that The thing with Apollo Creed is he could not take a loss. He just couldn't do it. Let me see if I can find appropriate. There we go. Apollo Creed. The problem with Apollo Creed is he couldn't take a loss. Even though, like in the very first Rocky movie, where technically he won against Rocky, but because Rocky just kept getting up, Rocky won over the crowd. So, and there's a scene in the second Rocky where Apollo Creed is saying, "Look, I beat him, but I didn't win," and he just can't get past it. And like his trainer's like, "Look, just let it go, let it go." But he just can't let it go. So he has to go in and fight Rocky again. Then he loses. And then again with Ivan Drago, he's like, don't throw in the towel. And he ends up dying. So this was like the fatal flaw in Apollo. He just could not let things go. And it was interesting to see Adonis dealing with that, because he starts to sort of spiral down in the same way. After Adonis loses in his fight, he starts to downward spiral in the same kind of way. And after his kid is born and after he reconciles with Rocky, which it's interesting to see that in order for Rocky to reconcile with Adonis, it took the intervention of Donnie's mother, even though technically she's not his actual mother, but she acts like she is anyway. Like, she's the one who sort of arranged for them to be in the house so they could actually talk it through, actually sort it out and get on the same page together again. And I thought, oh, maybe with Rocky and his son, maybe Rocky's wife Adrian was the one who would sort of do the same thing, make sure they get together, because she's not around anymore. Maybe that's why he and his son have just kind of drifted away, because that's what guys do, isn't it? You know, we both think we're in the right and we're stubborn, so we just kind of drift away. And often it takes the fair sex to kind of say, come on, guys, let's just get it together. And I guess because Adrian's not around, maybe that's why he's drifted away from his son more. But after he reconciles with Rocky and his kid is born, this is the moment in the Rocky formula where Creed sort of finds his reason for fighting again. And it's oh yeah, I should have that picture up while I was talking about his mom. He sort of finds his reason to fight again, his baby. And I think this was the overarching sort of message of the movie. And you know, I found it interesting when this kid was born. Like, before he fights, see, I'm jumping around all over the place. Before he fought Victor Drago the first time, he goes to visit his mom, and he's about to tell her he's going to fight Drago, and she's like, "Oh no, you're going to tell me that she's pregnant, right?" And she's like, "No, I'm not pregnant. In fact, I just got a record deal. I'm going to be a famous singer, selling records all around the world, whatever." And literally the very next scene is she's got the birth, paternity, whatever it is, test. And she's like, "Oh, I'm pregnant." Like, right after she said, "I've got this new record deal," then immediately she's like, "I'm pregnant." So I was like, oh. I was like, is this going to be like she's going to have to choose between having a kid or giving up the record deal? Nope. It just vanishes from the story. I guess that would have distracted from all the problems with Donnie and all that. And like, it's supposed to focus on his issues. Or maybe they decided to go like old school and like, nope, family comes first. I mean, that would fit with the theme of the movie. But once she had the baby, I thought to myself, I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen. She's going to miscarriage the baby right before his fight with Victor Drago, and that's why he's going to lose. Nope, they didn't do that either. So I was like, oh. So it's like, you know, you got that part in your brain that's always trying to guess what's happening next. And if what you guess happens next does happen next, you get bored. I kept guessing wrong, so I was entertained. You know, people saying, oh, you know, it's formulaic. Yeah, but it took enough twists and turns. Like, there was avenues I thought it was going to go down, but it didn't go down there. So when his kid is born, sort of the big thing with his kid is his kid's losing the hearing because the mother's slowly going deaf as well. She's got that condition where she's losing her hearing. So the baby is born deaf. And that sort of snaps everything together. It puts everything in line for Donnie, for Adonis Creed. Puts everything in line where he sort of sees, you know, avenging my father, who I never even met before, isn't really that important. And, you know, even fighting I mean, he's not even fighting the guy who actually killed his dad. He's fighting the son of the guy who he personally has no beef with. I mean, they have no problem with each other. So it seemed like his child being born and seeing the health difficulties of a child, that's put everything in line as to, like I said, with the overall theme of the movie, that it's not about your winning. It's not about personal glory. It's more about why you step into the ring, why you fight, which is a metaphor for life in general. So I think the second time that he steps into the ring to fight Drago, the difference is his mind, body, and spirit are all one, and he's doing it because he's like, this is just what I do. He has that conversation with his wife where he's like, this is just what I do. Just like you sing, and it would feel weird if you didn't sing. He's like, likewise, this is my art form. It's what I do. And also, it's how he brings home the bacon for his family. So he's doing it for the right reasons now. So he's got it together, and that's sort of how he's able to rally the strength to win the fight at the end. So I liked the underlying themes with him, and I especially liked how those themes were kind of echoed in, let me see, where is it? Oops. The theme were kind of echoed there with the father-son couple of the Dragos, because you see with them how the loss of Ivan Drago in Rocky IV to Rocky cost him everything. His wife left him. His country didn't want to have anything to do with him. So this kid, Victor Drago, he's sort of been raised up with this idea that nobody cares about you if you don't win. That when you win, everybody loves you. As soon as you lose, people will cast you away like a used tissue. And I thought about it with lots of sports, but especially combat sports like this. That is so true. That is so true. As long as you're winning, everybody loves you. But as soon as you lose, they're like, nap, and they move on to the next guy. And it's brutal, man. It's brutal. And I think also for a lot of these professional athletes to like succeed at that level, they have to build up this mentality of like that they're destined to win. That they're destined to win and they're unbeatable and they're always going to win. Like they need to have that mentality in order to achieve that level. But the problem is nobody stays on top forever. And fighters, like they hit their peak and they have a very brief window of their peak. So it's like you build up your entire psychology of like, I'm always going to win. I'm always going to win. I'm always going to win. But you're not going to. And I found it kind of interesting to see how Ivan Drago, how him on the other side of that having that mentality of we must win, and then of course he loses, how he sort of projected that onto his son here. And throughout probably about 90% of the movie, we see that he's really using his son just as a tool. Like he doesn't really care about his son, at least for the most of the movie. He doesn't care about his son at all. It's just a device for him to reclaim his lost, to reverse the past, basically. But I especially liked how the fight ended in that's not right, where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. So here's Ivan Drago's wife, Victor Drago's mother, because she had a minor role in Rocky IV. Yeah, people remembered her, but she comes back to reprise her role. She only has like one line of dialogue, but they make the point that when Ivan Drago lost, his wife ran out. And at one point, Ivan says to Victor, to really get him psyched up to cripple Creed, to break him, he tells him, like, she ran out on us because we lost. And that it works. It gets him fired up enough, and he smashes his ribcage and busts his kidney and bursts his face open and all the rest of it. But I love that bit, that moment in the fight at the end where the tide of the fight is starting to turn, and Victor Drago's mother walks out, and Victor Drago, he looks through the ropes and he sees she's gone, and just all the fight just goes out of him at that point. And I actually half expected him to kind of do like a Kingpin in the last Daredevil season, where he just drops his hands and just lets himself get beaten. I half expected him to do that, and he kind of does, but he's still like swinging, but like his spirit's gone at that point. And I love how that fight ended, because I was really wondering, where's the Dragos? I was really wondering how they were going to actually end this fight from the perspective of the Dragos, because we know Creed's going to win because it's called Creed, the movie. We know he's going to win, but they built up these two characters, the two Dragos, as that everything is winning and that if you lose, nobody cares about you. So I was like, I know they're going to lose at the end. So I'm like, how are they going to lose in a way that isn't just heartbreaking? And I actually started to feel sorry for these guys because I knew the loss was coming and I knew history was going to repeat itself where Drago is defeated on his home turf in Russia. And I was like, how on earth are they ever going to finish this without, it being heartbreaking what happens with these kids, with the Drago kid? And I love how they did it, that you see Dolph Lundgren, Ivan Drago, he sees that his former wife, the mother of his son, has walked out and abandoned him yet again because she's like, he's a loser like his dad. And Drago in that moment is like, I'm not going to abandon my son. And he grabs that towel and he goes up there and he just hurls the towel down, ending the fight. Because in that moment, the welfare of his son was more important to him than winning. It was more important to him than reversing his loss of the past. And it was just such a great moment. And I was like, well done, guys. Well done. And that bit at the end where they're jogging together, and I was like, yeah, because that's the theme of the movie. It's not about winning. It's about fighting for the right reason. Why do we fight? Why do we do the things that we do? Anyway, I absolutely loved it. When they came out to fight in the Moscow arena, let me get here it is. When they came out to fight in the Moscow arena, I would have liked it if there was a bit more fanfare. I know the Russians aren't real big with the fanfare, but it's like the Victor Drago, he got a little bit of an intro here, but I was like, come on, man. Couldn't you have given him a bigger intro? Like even when he comes out to fight Creed the first time, he gets no intro at all. I was like, dude, you just talked about how it's all about show business and it's all about putting on a big show, and there was no intro for Drago. Come on, I kind of imagined he'd come out with maybe the Goldberg theme from WWE. In fact, let me see. I'm not sure if by screen sharing I can actually share the audio. I don't think I can. Let me try. Yeah, I don't think that comes through. Hey, chat, can any of you guys hear any of that in the thing? I don't think it works. Just okay, I'll get rid of that. Doesn't matter. I'll figure that out eventually. I'm gonna use my OBS software once I get better internet, and then I'll be able to play clips and music and all these different kinds of stuff. But anyway, yeah, I would have loved the Goldberg theme for him out there. I mean, come on, Creed got a good theme when he came out, didn't he? He got that cool sort of rap song with all that cool static, and his wife is out there rapping away. It was awesome. It was awesome, and I loved his new trunks. Instead of the red, white, and blue, it's black and blue. I was like, I wonder if that's a reference to that he got beaten black and blue by Drago last time. I don't know if that was the intention, but I liked it nonetheless. It was very good. So, yes, I really enjoyed this. I liked it a lot, and I don't know if they're going to do a third one. Well, okay. Odds are, yes, they will do a third one. And I was thinking about this. So let me do a little bit of how to do it video here on the fly. I think if they do a third one, I was thinking about what would be a good thing to do. And I thought, if they're going to have a third Creed, you'd have to kill Rocky. You'd have to. Because, I mean, come on, how old is he now? He's like 70, Sly Stallone. He's going to be kicking the bucket soon anyway. Plus, he's been getting all them, a lifetime of steroid use. His heart's probably going to explode any minute. So you got to kill Rocky if you're doing Creed 3. And that kind of fits with the Rocky formula. When Rocky fought Clubber Lang, his trainer died right before he went out there. So it'd work. So I thought if I were going to say what I'd want for Creed 3, I'd like something that maybe Rocky, he doesn't die off screen. He has to die in the movie. So you can't have him die between movies. That'd suck. So I'd make it that the movie starts where Rocky he's sick and he's dying and he's in hospital, and his son is there. Come on. So all his family and that is with him. But it's like he's going to die soon, but, you know, over the course of the movie, he'll die. So Rocky's dying in hospital, and Donnie, Creed, he falls victim to what a lot of fighters do. In the absence of Rocky being his mentor, because his mentor's dying, he's kind of out on his own, and now he's like overflowing with all this money and status, and he's got the big house and all that stuff. So he starts to lose his way. And this would sort of echo Apollo Creed, in Apollo Creed's arrogance and his pride that eventually got him killed. We can see that starting to bubble up in Creed. And we could actually, in a way, kind of make Creed sort of the villain a little bit, in that he's starting to become really arrogant. And we could see that in Rocky's absence, he's losing his way a bit. Maybe his wife is like, you're changing, you're not the guy I once knew. And there's a new challenger coming up. And this new challenger, he's kind of like, he's an honorable fighter. He's a good guy. He's not a bad guy, because we're playing in the idea that Creed is now becoming slightly more of the bad guy. And this new fighter's coming up, and he's a good fighter, and he's an honorable fighter, and he's a good guy. And Creed goes out to fight him, and he kind of senses throughout the fight that he's losing. So he hits him low, hits him in the balls, gets disqualified. Do you keep the title on disqualification? Let's say you do. I don't know. We could write it differently or whatever. Maybe he just walks out of the ring because he's like, I'm done with this. And at that point, he's starting to lose his way. And in the absence of Rocky, a new mentor steps into the role as kind of like Rocky's evil mirror. And that's going to be Mr. T. Yes, you guys probably saw I accidentally put this photo up. I ruined the surprise. Mr. T returns as Clubber Lang, and he kind of feels like a sort of like a Don King kind of role. And he's like, I'll teach you how to fight. Rocky didn't know nothing. I'll teach you how to beat those fools, you know. And he sort of shapes Creed into the villain here. And we could have that sort of as the story, like the downfall of Creed, his arrogance, him being shaped by Mr. T into this bad guy. And then Rocky dies, and could like maybe either leave him a letter or maybe record a goodbye video in which he can spin some words of wisdom that'll slowly start to bring Creed back, so that by the time he comes to fight the rematch against the honorable guy, he's on the way back to being a good guy, and he loses. He loses because, as we said just earlier, there comes a time which all fighters need to start losing. But unlike the first time he fought this guy, he loses this time. And he's cool with it. He hands the belt over to the guy, and he's like, well done. You did well, fair and square. You're going to be a good champion. And then he goes back. He makes up with his wife. He has his kid. Happily ever after. Because that's what Rocky's about. Like, Rocky lost the first fight, but it's not about winning. It's about fighting for what matters. So I'd kind of like that. If they were going to go with the third Creed movie, I'd like it that you see Adonis sort of getting corrupted by his success, the absence of Rocky. Love to see the return of Clubber Lang, Mr. T, sort of shaping him as like an evil Don King, and then Creed sort of coming back over it. Sort of like, so his final battle is like a spiritual battle in a way, because all of these Rocky movies are kind of spiritual battles. So there we go, guys. Okay, so that's what I thought of Creed 2. And right, so I haven't had a look at the comment section. So I guess let me know, guys, what you thought. I guess now we're in the Are we in the call-in section? Yeah, I think we are. This is why it sucks when you're doing this by yourself. you gotta keep talking when there's nothing. All right, so yes. So if there's anyone in here, you want to call in, what you got to do is email me on banditincorporated@gmail.com, send me the link, and I'll send you back the Google Hangouts thingy.
I think I'm already here.
Jack, you're trying to connect, aren't you? Let me see if I can help. Jack. You there, Jack?
Hello. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me.
I can see you in the thing. It's not working there.
Test. No.
Oh, what a disaster. Whoops. So I accidentally muted you, Jack, and now it went on mute. I can see you now. What the hell's going on? Why is this not unmuting? There we go. Yeah, I can see you, but I can't hear you. No, we can't hear you, mate. Hey, can you guys in the chat? Can you hear? Can you hear Jack, or can you just see him? Linsa says I hear him. Let me try and call back in. Yeah, sorry, man. I can't actually hear anything. Why is this not working? All right, look. I'll eject you, mate. Sorry about that. I'll eject you so you can call back in. Oh, God. What a disaster. So you guys in the chat could hear him? Because I couldn't actually hear anything at all. We could hear him before. No. Dennis card, no. Linsa, not anymore. No, I just see him. Okay, yeah, I don't think he had his microphone plugged in. But if any of you guys want to call in, okay, I just had another email go off. Okay, who's trying to send me a message? Man, I was on such a roll there, you know, with the review. But see, as soon as you get off that, you don't know what's going on. E-Rookie Critic said, sent an email. I had him for the face cam, went online. Weird, should call me. Some could hear me, some couldn't. Like cell phone. All right. Wonder if I can try to call him. Would that work? Marvel Madness, what now, Bandit? I don't know. I didn't really plan beyond this. I figured we'd have a call in by now. We don't, so it's just me kind of talking. All right, actually, you know what? While we got this time, guys, let me ask you. I'm trying to sort of like do a... okay, Jack's waiting for a new link. Let me see if I can... Jack. I'll send you the link again. There we go. Hopefully that works. So let me ask you guys. So I was I'm looking about doing like I've sort of done an audit of the channel. I was looking at. I figured I'll look at what videos just get the most amount of views, and then I'll focus on just doing them. So I know the ones that get the most amount of views is like the Who Really Won the Fight videos. They get a lot of views, probably because they're very clickable and people search up the fights and it appears next to it. And but I really wanted to start these new ones of like the what if videos of like where you take one character, drop them into a different universe, and see how it goes. They're a little hard to get going. So let me just ask, do you guys like those videos, or would you rather I do something else? I love the long reviews. So do I. They just take so long, and I always take a long time to sort of get my thoughts together for them. But I really enjoy those too. So yeah, the fight, I really enjoy the fight ones. They're always good because they're just like basically just editing, and I don't have to worry about writing a script or anything like that. But yeah, I thought I want to do some, because see, on YouTube you always have to either do some stuff that other people aren't doing, or find stuff that other people are doing and do it in a new kind of way. That's sort of why I do live reviews like this. Instead of just reviewing a movie or doing a live stream, I thought I'll do a live review so I can interact with you guys and calls, something a little bit different. And likewise with the what if videos, there's lots of character breakdowns, there's a lot of speculations, but there's nothing specifically on that just yet. So I thought I'm going to try and get in there. Hopefully that can be a new little niche. And, you know, with the Avengers Endgame trailer that came out, I thought, you know, I always did the comment smackdowns, but they're not very clickable. So I thought I'm going to try to change the name, maybe rebrand it to make it more clickable. So, because it really does help if you can put out something related to the trailer at the time the trailer comes out. It's always very good because, yeah, again, very clickable. But it's difficult because like so many people do the trailer breakdowns now, that it's like there's no way you're going to find something that everyone else hasn't found. Especially Mr. Sunday Movies, man. That guy, he just finds everything. And I'm like, man, how does he do that so fast? Like, I was still putting together my video, and I saw he'd already come out with his Avengers Endgame, and I was like, how does he do it so fast? Where does he get all that info from? Does he? I don't know, but he just puts it together so quick. But maybe he has other guys working with him or something. Or maybe he just like gets like a carton of V of energy drink and just stays up all night just editing. Yeah, and I was like, and he's got all the footage from the trailer. How does he not get copyright strikes? Maybe because it's Marvel, because Marvel's pretty good with that kind of stuff. All right, I'm going to try drink a shot when you mentioned Mr. Sundays. All right, so how's it going, Jank? Is it going? No one's. There's no interest. Okay, so now I know last time we did this, there was someone who tried to call in who didn't get a live stream. Okay, I'm gonna send out more links because I don't know what Jack's got some technical problems, so I'm sending out some more links now to everyone who Grady Childs. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to send out the Google Hangouts links to everybody who emailed me all at once. We'll see what happens. It'd be funny if everybody calls in all at the same time. Be like, whoa, okay. There we go. So if you emailed me, I've just sent you guys the Hangout links just then to all you guys back. Yeah, Jack, if you're still listening, I'm not sure what the problem is. New link won't work either. All right, let me try one more time. I can't join. I keep getting kicked. Maybe that's because Jack, maybe that's because I ejected you before so you could call back in. Maybe when you eject someone, they can't call back in. What's up with that? I don't know. But look, I'm technologically cursed. I really suck at these kind of things. I mean, that's why I use the Google screen share instead of anything else. But I'll tell you what, does Google Hangouts work on phones? I think you have to download the Google Hangouts app. I think it's free, but once you have that,
the link works better on computers than on phones.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain. I'll tell you what, guys. While we're all waiting for a call in, here's something I didn't mention in the review. There was a scene in Creed 2 where Ivan Drago and Rocky Balboa fight again, and they cut it out of the movie. They cut it out of the movie. I couldn't believe it.
Who doesn't want to see two old men fight each other?
I couldn't believe it. It was just a matter of like, because I saw it online. Let me screen share. Let me screen share so you guys can see what I know. You guys won't be able to. What's this, cameraman? Let me screen share. So you guys won't be able to hear the audio, but hopefully for screen sharing, you'll be able to see what's on screen. So here's the deleted scene that I was waiting the whole movie. Here it is, Rocky and Ivan. They're in what looks like the foyer of the hospital. And yeah, you can see they got their body doubles behind. They're wearing the same clothes. Wow, apart from like the height and the weight, they really don't look that much like body doubles. But I was waiting for this scene in the movie, and it didn't happen. And okay, here it comes.
It looks like a behind the
alive, and he pushes him. Boom, boom. Rocky falls over by the counter. He comes back with 3 punches. Gut, face, face. And then security guys rush in and stop everyone.
You know, Bandit, I was just about to say
looking forward to that. I wanted to see that moment in the movie, and it never happened. I guess it's because stop sharing there.
You know, Bandit, I was just about to say.
I guess it didn't happen because who knows, right? Who knows? Maybe they just wanted Ivan Drago to be the good guy in the end, So they just got rid of. They thought if he's beaten up Rocky, he'll just be the same old Ivan. I don't know.
I was just about to say that I thought at first that maybe it was just a behind-the-scenes video of, him and Stallone just messing around. But yeah, from what I just showed you, it looked like they were actually finding each other.
Bandit can't hear the callers. I've been unpersoned by Bandit. I know you guys are talking. I can see you there, and I saw Grady was talking before, and there was. Hang on, let me screen share. What is going on here?
Yeah, can you hear me? Good.
Can anyone hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Are we in a void?
Okay, so look, I can see the people. Why is there no sound? What am I doing wrong?
Am I coming in at all? Hear me?
He's not muted.
No. Got volume on, computer.
Presenting. Yeah, screen sharing.
Can everyone hear me? Am I mute?
Yeah, I hear him fine. I can hear the rookie. We hear
me. Okay.
What the hell's going on? Why can't I hear anything? Everything's on my side.
I just put it.
Just talk amongst yourself, guys. I'll see if I can figure this out.
So, Bandit, you can hear me, but you can't hear Jack.
Am I coming through?
Yeah, I can hear and see you, Jack, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear Bandit, but can Bandit hear either of us?
I don't know. Didn't sound like he was responding.
Oh, you have a cat too? Both of my cats are right next to me.
And mine's named Chikorita. Chica for short.
So did you see that Detective Pikachu trailer?
Oh, God, yeah. Unfortunately.
They're both made by the same production company, Legendary and Warner Brothers, but after seeing the King of the
Monsters... God. I'm here. I can hear you guys.
I can hear us?
Oh, okay.
After seeing the King of the Monsters trailer, that has convinced me what a live-action Pokemon movie can look with, the legendary Pokemon like Giratina, Palkia, Dialga, all those kind of kaiju-like gods.
Hold on, Grady. Hold on. Just so everyone knows. Oh, God, that's so embarrassing. I had my headphones plugged into my microphone, but instead of the plug for the headphones, because there's the headphone plug and there's the microphone plug, I had the microphone plug plugged into the microphone instead of the head. I'm so stupid.
I was actually about to check if that's what happened, because that's happened to me a few times.
Yeah, so apologies to everyone live streaming this. For those listening who are not live streaming, hopefully there'll be time codes so you can skip past all this stuff. But how's it going, guys?
I checked on the thing; they could hear us.
Because I'm using a MacBook Pro without any microphones, but you see, I've had trouble using this before, but I found that if I use Google Chrome for Hangout, it works fine. But when I tried using Safari, the audio was all messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chrome, it's more equipped to handle Chrome, or if you're on your phone, it can usually handle that, like a phone call or something. So Chrome's usually the best one for it to have less technical difficulties.
Yeah. And so let me do a formal introduction to you guys. I'm sure you probably already introduced yourself to the chat already when I couldn't hear. But for everyone who doesn't know, Grady here, he's the caller who called in last week and then went into excruciating detail about the human centipede, but it was fantastic to listen to.
I remember that one.
I'll be doing this next time. I will not go into depth about a trilogy. I'm just going to talk about certain topics.
Yeah,
and I don't really talk about Creed because I haven't watched either of the films, but
it couldn't get any worse unless you turn on your camera and get your dick out. But please don't do that. Nobody wants to see that.
I've seen Rocky references everywhere. It's
okay, wait, stop. I didn't get to introduce the other guy. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
The rookie. How's it going, the rookie? You're a new caller.
It's going good, man. I am the rookie critic. I have a YouTube channel myself, and I like to talk about movies and do some reviews and film topics. And lately I've been doing a thing called the Rookie Corner. It's like a podcast, kind of like how you guys used to do with the Movie Mania thing. But I like to bring on new guests, like small YouTube channels that have either no subs or just a few subs, and like to give them a little notoriety.
I'm going to search for you now. Hang on. So it's just the rookie, or is it the rookie movies, or
the rookie critic?
The rookie critic. All right.
Yeah, I think I commented in the chat too. So I think if you click on those little dot things, then you should have access to my channel.
Oh, there you are. subscribed. Woohoo! So did you guys see Creed 2 or?
No, I didn't.
No.
Nah, it's spoiler alert, he wins in the end. It's pretty standard stuff.
Yeah. It's actually kind of funny. I never really got into the Rocky.
Imagine my shock.
So Gary, how'd it go? Grady. So what was it you wanted to chat about today? And then we'll head over to the rookie and
So Bandit, what's your thoughts on the trailers you've seen for Godzilla King of Monsters, since you weren't really that into the first Godzilla?
Yeah, I wasn't really into the first Godzilla. I know I wasn't the only one who thought they should have had more fighting and less boring, and more Bryan Cranston and all the rest of that. But I haven't actually seen the new trailer. I don't know how. I saw some stuff of like, hey, photos of King Ghidorah is out. And I was like, oh, I'll wait for the trailer. I didn't even know it was out. When did it come out?
It came out today, but there was a Comic-Con trailer that came out like back in July.
It was a little teaser.
When did it come out?
It came out today.
Ah, Jack, you're in.
Hello.
Like back in July.
Let me turn down the volume on the live stream. Can everybody hear me?
If you want to plug in your headphones or something so we don't get that echo.
Oh, no,
I know that's very difficult. I struggled with that whole thing of plugging in the headphones as well, as we all know.
Which is strange because any headphones and I'm having no difficulty.
Yeah, but to answer your question, Grady, no, I haven't seen the trailer, but my take on it was like, why are they bringing in Mothra and King Ghidorah and Rodan and all the rest of the? I'm like, just bring in King Kong, just bring him in. That's the one everybody wants to see. They will eventually build up to that.
They're doing that next year.
Yes, that's the one I want to see. So, what the trailer? Was it a good trailer? Or?
Yeah, the first one was amazing. It's the thing that got me hooked for this trailer, and the second one, we got more shots of King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah in this film is massive. He's supposed to be like 500 feet tall, and his mere presence, like flapping his wings, causes hurricanes. And he's
got triple head, doesn't he? He's got three heads.
He's described as a living extinction event.
Well, aren't they all? I mean, does he have like a version of like his own version of the atomic breath? Because if he had atomic breath with three heads, he could just blitz Godzilla.
It's like electricity beam. And apparently, and he's supposed to be from space. He's supposed to be a space alien, and it's been, like that was his origin in the Japanese films. And it's been heavily hinted by the director over Twitter that this is the case. And this one guy on YouTube says he has a good source that says he is an alien in this film.
And
like he's frozen in the Antarctic. And have you seen Kong Skull Island?
Oh yeah, I actually kind of like that. I'm embarrassed to say, but I did like that.
The end credit scene showed like cave paintings of King Ghidorah and Godzilla fighting in ancient times, and there's like skulls surrounding Ghidorah. So he's been around for a long time, and it seemed and he's apparently the main villain of this film.
Yeah, hang on, got to welcome a new viewer, Tuglian. Hello, Tuglian.
Hey,
how you going?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty. Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you good. You're doing a lot better than I did. So is that how I say it, Tuglian, or is there a different way you pronounce it?
It's Tuglian Primus. It's an old username that I just keep around. But that's just pretty much what I use nowadays. Mm-hmm.
So, see, I sent out so many links. Now we got so many people that I kind of feel like I need to give everyone their chance to say. So, guys, just jump in if you want to say something.
Well, I'm back. I'm here.
Yes, Jack. How are you, mate?
I had to literally sign into an alternate account to call in because you kicked me and I was unpersoned. So
I'm sorry. I don't know how to
get rid of me.
Yeah, when you kick people, you can't invite them back in.
No, like is that permanent when you kick someone?
For the stream, yeah, it's permanent until you do a new one.
Yeah, okay, to the digital gulag. Oh, sorry about that, Jack.
I was excluded to Ukraine. I needed to raise up my son for revenge.
He'll come back and we'll have a Google Hangouts fight with my son in the future, you know.
Right.
Google Hangouts.
My mom will be in the background. She'll be like, "Yeah, this sucks," and just walks away, and I'll be like, "No." So the rookie. Let me ask you: Did you see the Godzilla, the new Godzilla trailer?
I did, yes. I really like it. I really like it. I actually was more excited for King Ghidorah and Rodan and Mothra to come in than King Kong originally was when he was announced.
Do you have a favorite out of them, or you just like?
Oh, King Ghidorah, definitely King Ghidorah. That's really the only Godzilla villain I wanted to see. I would have much rather seen King Ghidorah than King Kong.
So he's from space. What's the deal with Mothra? Where's he come from?
I have no idea. I
believe he's from Earth.
I literally only remember them from like seeing them briefly.
He's from Earth. He's like Godzilla, or he's always been here. He's from Earth.
Okay, so he's like a big egg, but he's a good guy, right?
Usually, it's a she, by the way.
She-
So are we gonna have another deal like with the first Godzilla, where there's this whole subplot about them trying to reproduce with something?
Man, how are they gonna, like, when you got so many monsters, and do they have Rodan in it as well, or have they cut him
in this? As
he's seen in both
trailers. He's emerging from a volcano in Mexico, and as he's flying, he's sending out supersonic waves that devastates a Mexican town in the trailers.
So is it going to be Godzilla and Mothra versus Ghidorah and Rodan, you reckon?
Some people think it's Rodan, Mothra, and Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. Like, they see him as a common enemy and decide, we got to get rid of this guy before he kills the entire planet.
Yeah.
We're battle royale.
I know the Godzilla fans from the video I made of like 5 ways King Kong can kill Godzilla. Wow, the Godzilla fans really don't like you talking crap about Godzilla. They really, really don't. So I would love it if they had like all 3 of them. I know Mothra probably didn't fight Godzilla, but all 3 of them versus Godzilla. Just be like, how are they going to get him out of this one? Because they can't have Godzilla lose in his own movie. So like,
King Kong.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it was a good way they got around the size difference in the Kong Skull Island, where they're like, he's not fully grown yet, and this is 70. So it's like, good job.
Yeah,
good job.
Only Kong has been around for like hundreds of years, and like the Godzilla movie is probably going to take place at max like 40 years after the fact. So like, how is he going to grow another 200 feet in the next 40 years when he took him like 200 years to grow that big in the first place?
Yeah, that was my concern, is that
true.
Seems like really radical growth, really fast.
And the Godzilla...
Well, that's adolescence, right? Radical growth, very fast.
And the Godzilla we know in this film is supposed to be like millions of years old. At least.
The Rookie, what do you think, mate? I feel like you're being left out.
No, it's all good.
I
mean, no, he's talking to me, the Rookie.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, the actual, okay.
Yep, that's all good.
You thought I was saying Rookie to you because you were the new one.
I'm also Jeff, so whichever works.
Yeah, that was funny.
Pretty.
I'm also Jack. Mine is spelled differently, so that was a weird confusion. So there's 2 Jacks in the call.
That's all good.
So the Rookie, are you a Godzilla fan? Or?
Not a huge one. Honestly, when I say I'm the Rookie, I kind of mean that. Like, I love film big time, but I haven't seen so many classics that I have a lot to catch up on. And like, I saw Godzilla, I saw Kong Skull Island. I liked them, but it wasn't like, holy smokes, this is the blah, blah. It was just like, that was kind of cool. So I mean, the new ones, I kind of did get hyped for like a Godzilla versus King Kong one, and now it's like, okay, let's have 5 huge monsters all fight each other in the third one. That seems way too soon a little bit. Like, kind of like this rushing into the Avengers type of thing in a way.
Yeah.
From my opinion.
Do you reckon, like, because eventually they're going to bring in Mecha Godzilla, aren't they? He's like the big robot. And then they're going to be like,
I hope they don't bring in
Pacific
Mecha
Rim.
Godzilla.
Yeah?
I don't know.
I
feel like Mechagodzilla has to happen just because of the time period. I mean, it's like the original Mechagodzilla is pretty cheesy. It was really difficult to do. The effects just weren't there. And like, it seems to me that the entire series sort of builds up to doing a Mechagodzilla simply because we have Transformers movies, we have Pacific Rim, all these other things. Like, they're not going to be able to resist that. And I think that Mechagodzilla may even be a big part of the impetus to even reboot this whole series.
Speaking of Transformers, Bandit, what do you think of Bumblebee?
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I was scrolling through what are the upcoming movies, and I was like, Bumblebee? Really? No, I'm just completely done with Transformers at this point.
Ditto.
Well, what about you guys? Is anybody like really excited for Bumblebee?
I'm really excited for the Transformers movie.
Shame.
Shame. I'm so excited for the new Transformers movie because I can tell just by the way that they look that they're taking actual like influence from the original G1. And the fact that they're taking influence from the G1, there's literally no way that you can combine that and make it as bad as the Michael Bay movies have been. So it has to be better than what those previous movies have been.
I think the early reviews are really good. People are saying it's the best Transformers movie yet, but that's a really low bar to cross. So, what do we mean when we say the best Transformers movie?
It's like going from a concentration camp to just a regular camp.
I hope the Transformers have finally gotten over Earth. Like all the other movies, they're like, we need to take over Earth. There's this thing on Earth. We got to do this thing on Earth. It's like, guys, you got the whole universe.
It's so cool.
Rocket boots.
They have milkshakes.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to have the whole MacGuffin storyline of here's this ancient technology in a flashback to medieval times. Bumblebee has to find it, and
then he comes across
the Transformers in that.
Well, it does take place in the 80s, so in a way, the whole movie is a flashback.
What is it with the 80s too? Everything's about the 80s now. The 80s wasn't that great. I was born in 82, so I only remember a bit of it. But
well, it's the year where the Soviet Union started to collapse.
Hooray!
Has anyone here played the Transformers games like War for Cybertron and Fall?
I did.
Okay, so the models that they're using and like the way Cybertron looks, it looks really close to like how a lot of them looked like in those games. And that just gives me a sense of optimism for the way things are. Like the triple changers and like Blitzwing looks really different from how he looked in G1. But like Shockwave and Soundwave.
People thought Starscream looks like Starscream in this. And actually in the trailer, I think we see Starscream in the background with the other Seekers, like Thundercracker and what's the purple one's name? I forget. Skywarp. We see them in the background.
Right. Yep, I can hear.
Optimus Prime is also in this film, and he's voiced by Peter Cullen because it's a Transformers film, so of course he has to be in this. But he looks just like G1, and hopefully we won't have scenes of him ripping people to shreds. Though I don't honestly mind Optimus Prime doing that in these films.
Yeah.
Especially in 3 after all the horrible things the bad guys did.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question, right? Let me just pull, because I'm looking at some of the upcoming movies over there, like Bumblebee's one. So let me just get the sort of a feeling from you guys about how excited you are for these upcoming ones. Okay, next one is in December, is Once Upon a Deadpool. Is anyone excited for that?
A little bit. I feel like they're probably going to do something pretty satirical with the whole PG-13 idea, and I think that it could be...
It's going to be Deadpool just telling Fred Savage the story of Deadpool 2 from what it looks like.
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think they'll go for anything quite that plain. Just like, certainly Deadpool 2 was not as like original or fresh as the first Deadpool, but I feel like they're not going to like just do something really simple and basic. I think it's going to be a little bit more like Gremlins 2, where if you're going to do a sequel. Gremlins 2 sort of like leaned into, being the most tropish version of a sequel possible. I feel like Deadpool PG-13 is going to just lean in really hard to the satire of doing a PG-13 Deadpool. And I don't think we're going to be unhappy with it. I think we're going to be surprised. That's my guess.
I think because it looks like it's basically just the Deadpool 2 movie, but told in the PG-13 version. So if it's just him there talking to, is it Fred Savage, the guy on the...
Yeah, it is. Same kid from Neverending Story.
And Princess Bride.
So maybe every time
and the
he
Wonder
gets...
Years.
Right.
That's what he's famous for. Fun fact, he also directed and partially created Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Oh, I remember that school. What Darren Norris, the guy, what was his name? He voiced a few characters in the Fairly Odd Parents. He voiced Knockout in Transformers Prime. I recognized his voice instantly. He played one of the janitors, and Cosmo and Wanda even from Fairly Odd Parents even appeared in that show at one point. I thought it was made by the same creator, Butch Hartman, or was he involved in some way?
I'm not exactly sure about him. I didn't know he voiced Knockout in Transformers Prime. That's crazy.
Yeah, people made a bunch of Dinkelberg jokes because of that. There was one video where he got painted and he just said Dinkelberg. He voices the main character's father in that.
Okay, well, I was gonna say I wonder though if it's Deadpool retelling Deadpool 2 to Fred Savage. I wonder if, like, whenever he gets to, because like in The Princess Bride, whenever it would get to the scary bits, it would cut back to Fred Savage, and he'd just be describing it. So maybe like whenever it gets to the dodgy bits in Deadpool, it will cut back to Fred Savage, and he'll just be like acting it out with the stuffed toys on the bed, and he'll be like,
Or maybe he'll be like,
yeah. I imagine that's probably going to be at least one of the jokes that they use, but I'm guessing that they will surprise us with a few things. There's going to be some ideas that, the internet isn't thinking about, or at least, isn't well aware of.
I'm not sure if I want to pay to see it again, though. I don't know.
I'm not going to. I have the super duper cut on Ultra 4K Blu-ray. I don't need to see this movie in theaters. I'll probably pick it up on Blu-ray when it comes out. I don't feel like going to see a movie I already saw this year in theaters. I'm actually going to see Aquaman next week with my cousin and her boyfriend.
Yeah, I feel like Deadpool is a movie that is only good if I think it should come out every like 3 or 4 years, because when you do it like every 1 or 2 years, then all the comedy is still too similar with the time, and it's like if it were spaced out a little more, I think it would retain more relevancy.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's possible to have too much of a good thing. And it's like Deadpool, as Nostalgia Critic pointed out, Deadpool's good in small doses, but too much, he just gets annoying. But all right, let me ask you guys. I think next movie come out, Bumblebee, we already talked about that. Aquaman, December 26th, just day after Christmas. I'm really looking forward to Aquaman.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it too.
I've been avoiding the trailers.
Only because of James Wan, I would say. The trailers aren't impressing me, but I just feel like the director... He's got a orange suit.
Yes, dude, that's the one thing that I thought was...
Go ahead, guys, sorry.
Okay, that's one thing that I was like so happy with, that they finally gave him. I always thought that his suit from Batman v Superman was terrible. His suit from Justice League was terrible. I always thought that you can do the original suit, but just make it cool and more like armor. And it looks better than literally any other suit he's ever been in. The Trident, the classic Trident, looks better than his weird pitchfork that he had in like previous movies. It's like everything looks better in this movie and higher quality than in previous movies.
Hooligan, he wasn't wearing any suit in Batman v Superman. I think it was just shirtless in that scene.
I thought he had a little bit of armor.
I was very surprised in the trailer to see he actually does ride a seahorse. I didn't think they were going to do it. I thought they were going to check it out, but they actually did it. He's on an armored giant seahorse. I was like, wow.
Do you guys want to know something about Aquaman in Justice League Throne Atlantis, that animated film? He's voiced by Matt Lanter, who voiced Anakin Skywalker in the 2008 CGI Clone Wars show.
What about it?
He was voiced by Matt Lanter, the guy who voiced Anakin in the CGI Clone Wars show.
Man, you know who voices everyone. You're like the encyclopedia of voices.
I am.
I've watched some of the new DC animated movies, but in my opinion, DC hasn't made, besides Assault on Arkham, they have not made a good animated movie since Flashpoint Paradox.
They're making a 2-part adaptation of the death of Superman and Reign of the Superman. Reign of the Superman's coming out next month.
Really, they're redoing Death of Superman again.
Yeah, it's
in animated.
Their purpose was to do it more faithfully to the book, so they cut it into two parts. The first is the death of Superman. The second part is the reign of Superman. Though Captain Logan from Geekvolution has said that it should be 3 parts, which is the death of Superman, the reign of the Superman, and the return of Superman.
Yeah. Because it's a big story. It went on for like a year in the comics, and after he dies,
it was more than that.
Yeah,
it was like 4 different people who were popped up and trying to like fill the role of Superman. Some said they were Superman and they weren't, and
which is something they do in the DC extended universe, because he's just dead for just like two movies. Well, technically 3, but Wonder Woman takes place in the past. So it's just Suicide and then Justice League. I guess you could say the Justice League could serve as like a stand-in for the Supermen, but they didn't do that. And Superman had only been Superman for like a year or 2 at that point. And
Henry Cavill, like the rumors about whether he's in or out, it seems to keep changing. Like he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. What's the current rumor? Is he out?
Especially when they announced Michael B. Jordan as his replacement, I was like, okay, this is fake news.
Yeah, I think they like to test our patience, honestly. Test how we'll react.
I think that the rumors are fake, but you'd have to be lying to say that there isn't a small ring of truth to the fact that Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill are like slowly but surely losing interest in continuing with these roles, because they're clearly more appreciated elsewhere. Like Henry Cavill has gotten far more acclaim in one Mission Impossible than he's gotten in like 3 years of being casted as Superman. So like there's really, and Ben Affleck he wants to continue doing like his own movies. Like he put like 2 movies since BVS or Justice League. He's made 2 of his own movies when he could have been working on
making
Batman.
his own movies.
Yeah,
Ben Affleck's great at that.
I want to see Ben Affleck continue. I want to see him in a Ben Affleck solo film, like rebuilding the Bat family, like have a film with Nightwing, Oracle, Cassandra Cain, Tim Drake. Do you think Barbara Gordon should already be Oracle in this universe, or should we have her as Batgirl for a while before being crippled by the Joker, guys?
And
I'd actually like to see her get crippled. I'd like to see her get crippled. I want to see Joaquin Phoenix shoot her in the spine, and then she becomes Oracle.
I like Joaquin Phoenix's look of the Joker more than Jared Leto, and I wish he was in the main universe, but he's just gonna be a one-off. Yeah. He looks just like
Remember before Batman v Superman came out, there was the rumor of Joaquin Phoenix as Joker, and everyone's like, no, not as Joker. Was it Joker or was it Lex Luthor? Oh, I'm getting confused now. What am I? Forget I said anything.
Yeah, I don't remember the rumor.
Did you hear that Robin suit in BDS? Apparently, Zack Snyder envisioned it as Dick Grayson instead of Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's because Zack Snyder doesn't actually know anything about comics.
And they probably told him,
I don't think he even reads them. I think he just looks at the pictures.
We're going to leave it open-ended, and then later they confirmed it was Jason, and they said that a Nightwing film was in development, so that's Jason Todd's suit, and he was going to bring in Carrie Kelly to be the next Robin, which would fit because Ben Affleck's Batman is based off The Dark Knight Returns, but I'm wondering if they're going to bring in another Robin if Ben Affleck comes back, should it be Carrie or should it be Tim Drake?
I think that skipping literally any Robins would be a bad idea because they all kind of build off of each other and change. And if you skip to one of the last ones, you lose out on why that one's important because they're so different from the previous one.
Isn't it supposed to be a growing family?
I mean, I have to say Tim Drake was always my favorite Robin. He's
same here.
Interesting to me.
And they pretty much just made him Jason Todd in the animated series because Jason never existed in that universe, and they couldn't do him in a children's show, do his death. Well, actually, they alluded to
What
his
if,
death.
what if they just skip straight to like Batman's son? What was that guy's name?
Damian Wayne.
Damian Wayne?
That's the son of Talia and Bruce.
That would at least
Ra's al Ghul.
not be as creepy then in modern context if it's his son. You could be like, okay.
No, it wouldn't be creepy. It would just be a guy teaching a young boy to fight crime and basically be a sidekick. There's something creepy about that. There's something creepy about and teaching him how to basically be a soldier in his basement.
That's normal.
But let me ask you though, like, everyone's done the who would you cast as Batman? Assuming Henry Cavill's gone, who would you guys cast as Superman?
The Rock.
Hugh Jackman.
The Rock.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, you could put John Cena there. He's just not a very good actor.
John Hamm. I would go John Hamm because John Hamm.
John Hamm's
looks
not a
like,
bad choice.
Kingdom Come.
John
I can
Hamm
see
is
him being
apparently supposed to
Clark.
play Mr. Sinister in the New Mutants film,
Mm.
but he's being apparently in the recent
that's true.
being replaced by Antonio Banderas.
You know,
When was the
actually,
last time he was relevant?
Army
Oh
Hammer.
man,
wouldn't be a bad
Expendables 3 and he
Superman.
wasn't relevant then.
You know, when you say Army Hammer, I sometimes I hear Arlie. Actually, I don't hear. Well, Arlie Army is dead.
Hmm.
So
right,
Army Hammer hasn't had a great career in mainstream Hollywood, but if anyone saw Sorry to Bother You, like, he's fantastic in that. And I would love to see more, like, I think Army Hammer is a good comedic actor, and I think he has some of the charisma that, like, Christopher Reeve had. So I could definitely see him doing that. And he's about the right age to, do, an early middle-aged Superman rather than, the young boy that we've seen a lot, or, go full Kingdom Come, which I think John Hamm would be better for Kingdom Come.
Yeah, you'd have to bulk him up a bit, but yeah, he could be. And at least John Hamm, you'd buy him as a good guy. I mean,
Yeah.
Henry Cavill. I think Henry Cavill was perfect casting. They just wrote the character so terribly. But if he's gone now, it's a real shame.
Well, I feel like
not too old. I mean, not too young.
I think Henry Cavill, like Superman in Man of Steel, was fine. Like it wouldn't be the start how I would want to. Like I initially hated that movie when it first came out, but upon
I
like
didn't hate that
rewatching,
movie. I actually loved it,
and
but
even like
I just
and even-
don't care about it much anymore. Like I don't care to watch it.
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know.
I
Like,
have so
feel
many
like
movies right now: Spirited Away, Logan, Days of Future Past. I watched the Road Cut recently. Kong Skull Island, Prometheus, both Jurassic World movies. I have so many movies on my shelf. Man of Steel's not one of them, and really, I don't have any interest in going out and getting it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real shame what's happened to the DC cinematic universe. It's
Because I still think
at least we still got Aquaman and Wonder Woman. They're pretty good. I don't know what's happening with Flash. Batman and Superman seem to be up in the air right now, but who knows? Maybe it'll end up being a good thing in the long run.
I give them credit for trying.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
Out of everyone else that failed, they're still trying to make a movie that's good, trying to salvage their crap, but it's failing.
Wonder Woman was good. I liked Wonder Woman. Aquaman looks like it'll be some fun.
Yeah.
You think about the early Marvel movies that built up. They weren't like huge blockbuster movies. Not until Avengers came along. But they were solid. They were solid.
No, I rented the first Iron Man from my local library out of curiosity, and I was just so sucked into the movie. I was so sucked into Tony Stark's character growth that I just loved watching it, and that's what got me into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. And Thor's become more important over time.
He goes from a selfish, spoiled playboy to a responsible, spoiled playboy.
The savior of the earth, burden trying to protect it.
And now he's drifting through space on the Milano with this strange blue cyborg lady. And why doesn't he get back immediately to Earth on that if it has like hyperdrive?
They didn't say that she was with him.
Space?
Well, I guess
She was there.
I guess it
could be
got
a
torn
reason
apart
why.
when the moon was thrown at the planet. Maybe it got hit in the process or something.
Yet they managed to get out. Maybe that makes sense. Like they managed to get out in space, but the engines blew out and they've just been drifting ever since. And one of who I think could save them instead of Captain Marvel. What if it's Korg, Valkyrie, Meek, and the surviving Asgardian refugees?
I would be completely fine if they never showed
They got
up
killed,
again.
didn't they? They got killed at the start of Infinity War.
Thanos only killed half of the Asgardian refugees, and the directors say that Valkyrie escaped with the rest in escape pods.
You miss it in a blink because they blow up the two. They blow up the two halves after they leave. But I mean, we're supposed to assume they got away. They don't really explicitly say they survived in the film.
I'd like that. They'd come up and they'd be like, "Hey, mate, I'm Korg. We're here on this spaceship.
You want to come? You want to come with us to this Earth that our king says they'll be our new home?" Yeah, Thor.
As much as I love like some of the humor in the Marvel movies, I feel like Marvel would benefit from like how I feel like they've all taken so much of their influence from Guardians of the Galaxy, but if they redirected that towards like taking that from the Winter Soldier, they would use like the humor that they do have more sparingly, and they would just all around make better movies. Because like Korg and them were like really funny, but I feel like it's kind of like I have no desire to rewatch Ragnarok.
Is actually voiced by Thor Ragnarok's director. I can't pronounce his name except his last name Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. Yeah. I can't.
Wait, why doesn't Bandit say it? Because he's the only one here that's Australian, as far as I know.
TT. Yeah.
Tiger with TT.
Yes.
At first, I think to Australian.
Yep.
By the way, I sent the link out to a few more people as well. So let me continue. It's going to be so many people.
For what you were saying to Oogie about like more serious Marvel movies, I think that the Black Widow film should be a more serious film, and I don't think it should be a prequel that after Avengers Endgame, and it could be about Natasha going after the Red Room, who created her to try and save a new batch of girls who are being turned into soldiers, and it's about her trying to preserve their innocence and not be turned into monsters like she is, and in the end she adopts one of them, which would be a payoff to her being sterilized. Well, told where she was sterilized in Age of Ultron.
You know, I think Scarlet Witch is almost as boring as Hawkeye. Oh, yes, I said it. I said it.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't think
Scarlet Witch is terrible.
Yeah.
I also think that using the past would be far better for a Black Widow movie than using the current time, because just right after Avengers Endgame, like as good as that sounds, it seems so insignificant.
That's the point. That's the point. Is that it's not. It doesn't have to have anything to do with the current Marvel universe, but it's basically a personal story about Natasha.
But I would much rather do that in a world where there is not Thor to come in randomly. I would much rather have that in a world where Bucky is still the Winter Soldier and Hawkeye maybe even is not even a SHIELD agent yet. And like SHIELD is still a very big presence.
It works. It's just that this is something she wants to do alone by herself. Because
welcome, new caller, by the way.
Hello.
Afij. Is that what you said?
And I think like maybe Nick Fury and Hawkeye could appear in the film helping her, and maybe even Bucky. And here's another idea that's radical that probably wouldn't happen, but assuming this,
I'd rather see a Thanos standalone movie or a Thanos origin. I just don't care about.
Okay, but just let me finish this. What I'm thinking, and this is out there, and this would have to be after the Foxia sign, but a character that comes in to help Natasha is an assassin from Canada who we all know too well. It would be the MCU debut of Wolverine.
Wolverine wasn't really in it. Was he a assassin? I thought they were more of like just a Black Ops team.
He was that. Well, yeah, but he basically, for some reason, comes in and help her, and then at the end he leaves, saying, "Well, my friends are going to start to wonder where I am if I'm gone too long."
Yeah,
and then leaves, alluding to the X-Men and the MR. I didn't. Yeah, this is just a pitch I'm just working on, and it's just messy and like a lot of pitches I come up with without thinking about them too much.
I don't know if there's enough audience out there for a Scarlet Witch movie, though. I mean, hey, look, if the demand is there,
no, Black Widow.
If people want to see it, then go ahead and make it. I just don't know if there's enough people who would want to see it.
Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Two
sorry.
different people.
Why are they making a Black Widow film?
Here, you guys, I have an idea for it though. So you know how a lot of people don't like the idea of the Captain Marvel and how powerful she's going to be. What if instead of her having the power, what if they had Black Widow somehow get the power? But it's not like she just instantly knows what to do with it. It's like let's say like a Gohan thing or like a Superman thing where she's got all this power, but she has to somehow learn how to control it, and she can all of a sudden be dangerous enough to hurt the Hulk. But she has to try to somehow temper it, and she's the only one that didn't have powers, and now she does. That'd be an interesting type of idea instead of doing Captain Marvel if that wasn't going to be a movie.
I don't know.
I think it could be interesting. Could be interesting.
I've talked to, I interact with on Twitter, have
hang on, Grady. Our feature's a new caller, and he hasn't got to talk yet. Tell us a few.
Let's go on.
What were you going to say?
I'll listen. And what I was trying to say was that it could be.
Yeah, Bandit's audio has degraded.
Captain Marvel, the Black Widow. I mean, I'm talking about Black Widow.
Everybody's audio degraded. What's going
Captain
on?
Marvel. If she wasn't cast in before this, so if like Captain Marvel was not cast, and you could make Black Widow somehow get her powers in an alternate reality, it would be very interesting.
Well, I mean, I sound really down when it comes to Black Widow. Come on, look, she's got, her thing is she's got the stun gun palms. She never uses them. What's the point of her having them? She doesn't use them. I mean, there's one moment.
After Age of Ultron, she never uses her mental powers.
She has mental powers?
Yeah, Scarlet Witch. Remember in Age of Ultron?
Black Widow.
Oh,
why do people get?
Why do I keep getting Scarlet Witch and Black Widow confused? I'm sorry.
Because her name is Scarlett Johansson. Maybe you got confused by that.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. Hey, look. Hey, Jack is saying the audio is going bad. It sounds okay to me. Does it sound okay to the chat?
It sounds perfectly fine to me.
Sounds okay.
It sounds perfectly fine to me.
Sounds fine.
Okay. It might just be your end, Jack. So, all right. Let me ask you. So, that's how I feel about Aquaman. Next to Aquaman at the same time is coming out Holmes and Watson. Has anyone seen
the what that is?
Who and what?
It's the Will Ferrell,
and John C. Reilly comedy,
yeah.
where they're making fun of Sherlock Holmes and Watson. And all I could think of when I saw the trailers, I'm like, God, they're so old. They're so old. It's really depressing.
I'm just worried that
the people
this movie is going to be very behind its time.
Marley Ermy, they're old. They're not. And that's a reminder to all of us that one day we're just all going to die and just rot away in the ground.
Yeah. Well, Will Ferrell, he was actually in Dumb and Dumber, that movie with Jim Carrey, all the way back in the 90s. But that's how far back he goes. And he's still around. I suppose Jim Carrey's still around technically. But if you go and you watch the scene in Dumb and Dumber where Jim Carrey's character is dreaming and where he lights his fart on fire, when he lights his fart on fire, you see all these people laugh, and Will Ferrell's like right there in the middle, and it's like a young Will Ferrell, and he's wearing one of those sort of Legionnaires hats with the ear flaps that you wear in the snow, and you're like, oh my God, it's Will Ferrell. I don't know how he got there, but he's there. But that's how long this guy's been around. But yeah, so no one's really interested in them anymore.
No, not really.
No. Okay, well, next movie coming out in January 17th is Glass.
This movie's gonna be amazing. This movie's
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
be amazing.
excited for it.
I'm excited for this too.
Was that you, Afig?
Oh no, I'm just saying I'm excited for that too. For Glass.
Yeah,
Do you reckon
I'm excited.
I'm not. I don't know if I'm gonna see it. I haven't even watched Unbreakable or.
Oh,
You haven't seen Unbreakable?
Go away.
Yeah, I'm going to eject you right now.
Oh,
it's really good.
I'll watch them. I will watch them. I'll watch Split. I like James McAvoy.
Yeah, you have to watch Unbreakable first, then watch.
Yeah, you absolutely have
I've seen
to.
Unbreakable, haven't seen Split.
There's so few. Oh, you should check out Split too. It's really good. It's like they're actually the good ones. This is like the story of redemption for M. Night Shyamalan. You know, he made a few good movies.
Last Airbender movie.
Oh yeah, that was the nail in the coffin.
Has anyone here besides me watched the show?
Yeah.
Say that again.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Has
I
anyone
watched it.
I watched a few
of
episodes.
course.
Yeah.
Mark
They're
Hamill
difficult to find though.
voices
Did
Prince
Philo
Zuko's
Ozai.
father.
Philo Ozai.
Yeah, Mark Hamill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I genuinely believe, I don't know if anybody knows this much about the show, but like that the final Agni Kai between Zuko and Azula is like the best part of the show because like they cut out all audio except the sound of the fire, and there's this like really nice like orchestra sound behind it, and it's just a really nice final battle. That's like the best part of the show, and like the directing and how the action is framed is really good.
I feel like Avatar: The Last Airbender has maybe the most satisfying conclusion of any television show. It's certainly I've ever seen, but maybe
100%
ever.
agree.
And what about Korra's?
Korra's hot garbage.
Yeah, not very satisfying.
You know, here's the thing about Legend of Korra that I will put over Star Wars. I feel that the world of Avatar has progressed far better than this world of Star Wars, where Star Wars feels like it has regressed 30 years, starting with The Force Awakens.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you ever played
this is a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it is.
It'll be a long stream, man.
It feels like
if you ever played
rather than
Knights
the
of
Fire
the Old
Nation
Republic
hasn't
feels,
returned, or there's no airbenders besides Aang. It feels like things have actually changed for the better instead of things just becoming depressing so much that you just wonder why the Resistance just doesn't fly the Millennium Falcon into a star and end it all.
Yeah, at some point you got to be like, guys, just let it go. You know, just give it up. You guys suck. Even when you won the whole galaxy, Return of the Jedi, it's almost like you guys never existed. Just give it up. Give it up. And,
okay, really quick.
You know, Luke Skywalker, he has the whole thing of like, oh, the legacy of the Jedi is failure. It's like, well, what was it that Obi-Wan said? Like, for over 1,000 generations, they maintained like peace and justice throughout the entire galaxy. You couldn't even keep it 20 years, Luke. Who the hell are you to talk about failure?
Yeah, millennial.
They maintained order for thousands of generations. You couldn't even go one. Not even one.
Too hard.
Why did Kylo Ren need to be why did the villain need to be Han and Leia's son? Why did Kylo Ren need to be a villain? Why couldn't he just be like an anti-hero? Like the Punisher or Deadpool or
he doesn't even feel like their son because we never see him with them. So it's like, how are we supposed to feel about it? We never see them interact. So
can't we just have a grey Jedi, like a mixture of light and dark? I mean, that makes sense, wouldn't it?
Could have been like that with his own group of students of Luke's who they kind of left him because of ideological differences, but he doesn't hate Luke. He just has different political or ideological leanings than him, which happens all the time with him in real life. But you can still interact with them and not want to rip their throats out.
And you can make a pretty good argument as to why Kylo Ren would think that mixing a bit of the dark side with the light side would end up with a more stable government than whatever the Jedis do. I mean, you can make a pretty good argument for that. Even Luke himself in The Last Jedi was kind of saying that.
And I wish
but then he slaughters a student and kills an old man, and yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You know, I actually wasn't like a lot of people actually meant to mention this in my End of the Dream thing on Luke, but I forgot to mention it. It's like everyone was upset about how Luke almost killed or tried to kill Kylo Ren in his sleep. And I thought about it and I was like, that's actually not out of character, because remember, he did do the same thing with the Emperor. Remember how he grabs the lightsaber with the Force, but then Darth Vader blocks it? Like, he was going to do the same thing there. In the heat of the moment, he was going to just cut the Emperor in half. So he does that.
He redeemed Vader. That was also before he redeemed Vader.
People kept going on.
Yeah.
People like me have said he wanted to redeem the father that he thought was dead his whole life, but not the nephew that he's known since the kid was born. Like, he's known this kid.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and Darth Vader had been on the path for the dark side for decades at that point. Kylo Ren had only just started down the dark path. There's more reason to say Kylo Ren.
The whole reason why Luke was important was because, and the reason why Yoda and Obi-Wan and everybody put faith in him is because it wasn't that he was the Jedi Order, because the Jedi Order had failed, but Luke was supposed to be something different. He was supposed to be the hope and optimism.
And here's the thing.
Out of that.
Like, Ryan Johnson, I feel, has just been, and all everyone talk about, like, Luke is some kind of, like, people, like, before, they think that people thought Luke was some perfect angel or some mythic being, but to me, he was just a guy who basically, like, through all odds, man, just wanted to save his father's soul, and he just happened to save the galaxy in the process.
Yeah, in my opinion, like Ryan Johnson really wanted to just retell Luke's story from the old trilogy, which was pretty unneeded because we've already gone through that. That's his redemption already.
The original trilogy, but less good.
Yeah, he's trying to like remake and tell us, this is Luke. He's very imperfect. But we've already gone through that, and it feels like he should put it one step further, making it make him feel like the Jedi, or maybe even the ex-Jedi that he's gone through all these years, like 30 years already. It doesn't really
and honestly,
make sense
the worst part about Luke dying in The Last Jedi is that I'm actually fine if him dying, but if you were gonna kill him, have him go out with a spectacle and have him go out like a hero. And if you're not going to have him go out with a spectacle, keep him alive for the next movie.
Is if this trilogy had a new Jedi Order and this was him dying, like looking at them smiling, knowing that they could go on without him, and he goes out with peace. Like he's actually before he died. He brought back the Jedi to the galaxy, and they're just as imperfect as he was.
Yeah, that's true.
Better than the old Jedi Order. And I think Ahsoka should have been in this trilogy. If you don't know, Ahsoka is basically Anakin's apprentice, who was introduced in that CGI Clone Wars show.
They would have ruined her, though.
They said that she might be in episode 9 with the rumors.
There's only two things that Star Wars excites me at this point. Is that the potential of an Obi-Wan movie and the Star Wars Theory Vader fan film. That's literally the only thing that I'm excited about in Star Wars.
You know that James Mangold was making a Boba Fett film? And I just imagine that would be about Boba Fett after Return of the Jedi, basically trying to rebuild his life, and he's this rough old man played by whoever played his father, and just he's drinking or something. I don't know. It's basically Logan, except maybe he doesn't die. It's just what I think it should be about is like him showing him as an individual, like he's not just his father, he's not just a clone, he's his own person.
Hey, whose microphone keeps doing that? So it sounds like someone's microphone is like rolling up and down. Is that you, Grady?
No, I don't think so.
Like in your pockets?
It's not mine.
It's not mine.
There it is.
You're like breathing into it real close to the mic.
Okay, so besides let's just try and move on from Star Wars. Let's not go further.
Yeah, so
it'll be a 3-hour stream, bro.
Because we were talking about Split.
Movies coming out.
Split.
And then we got up to Star Wars somehow. But Split is M. Night Shyamalan, sequel to Unbreakable?
Unbreakable.
Hang on, have I got this wrong? No, it's Glass. We're talking about Glass. Glass is the sequel to Split. Split is the sequel to Unbreakable. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's a sequel to both of them in a way. It's like Days of Future Past is a sequel to both X-Men The Last Stand and X-Men First Class at the same time.
Yeah, but it makes sense because, like, you know, at the end of Unbreakable, there's a scene where Bruce Willis' character is talking to Samuel L. Jackson's mum, and she's explaining, like, in comic book, in the comic book world, there's two types of villains. One's the soldier villain who fights the hero with his fists, and the other is the evil genius type villain. So the implication is that Mr. Glass is the evil genius one, and then in Split we see the soldier villain, the guy who's going to fight him with his fists. So what's going to happen in comic book terms? The two bad guys are going to sort of join forces and go up against Bruce Willis, and I'm really looking forward to it because Bruce Willis's superpower is he can touch
all working together or something.
Oh, really?
Like
is that it?
I actually didn't watch the trailer, but I just like
Oh.
seen images of them in a prison all together in the one room. Is that just a group therapy session or something?
Yeah,
I didn't know there was a trailer out for that either.
Yeah,
I
I
really
watched the
need to get on
first
board with
trailer.
those
The
trailers.
first trailer. I didn't watch the second trailer. I watched the first one. I think it was during Comic-Con. That one last year.
Yeah, the Comic-Con trailer. I remember it released with the things. The only things I was interested with Comic-Con was Steven Universe, Star Versus, Godzilla, Young Justice Season 3. That was about it.
Hmm. Well, let me ask you guys, because how long's it gone? It's gone for about an hour and a half. So we might start wrapping it up. So I'll tell you what, I'll just go around to each of you guys, see if you want to say anything before you go, and then we can start wrapping it up.
Sure.
I don't know, Grady, anything you want to say before we head off?
So did anyone notice that the trailer for Detective Pikachu got more likes, comments, and views than the Toy Story 4 trailer?
Yeah,
I
looked
believe
better.
Yeah, and
people
it looks more
excited.
interesting.
People
And
are
it
more
actually
excited
had
to
like
watch
plots.
a Pokemon movie than another Toy Story film, and I'm excited for Detective Pikachu. Like the Pokemon look pretty damn good, honestly.
Yeah,
I agree.
I missed the
other
whole
than
Pokemon
Ryan
thing.
Reynolds' voice, that was the only thing that I felt off. I'm in the camp that I think Danny DeVito would have been perfect casting.
Now I just want to see a sequence where they take all the comedy relief characters that people don't like from the anime, and they like form an X-Force, and then they all die gruesomely.
They all die.
Like except like one that's actually good that people like, and Pikachu's like, the bad news is the whole team is dead. The bad news, I don't think anyone's gonna miss Barry. He was kind of an annoyance. Yeah, but here's the
All right.
thing.
Well,
So
okay, Grady. So I got to wrap it up, Grady. So,
okay, I'll be fine.
so thanks for jumping in, man. We appreciate it. Okay. He's gone quiet. All right, I'll hit eject.
Okay.
See you, mate. Thanks a lot, Grady.
Bye.
I love that guy. He's awesome. I felt bad ejecting him just there. But he went quiet. Okay, so so the Rookie Critic. So your channel. So you want to give your channel a plug again?
Yeah, sure. Well, first I'll say thank you for throwing the invite out to let us on there. Really appreciate that. It's nice being able to talk to you a little bit. Been a long time watcher, especially when you had your Star Wars series that you did, and the edits on that were great. Love that. And so
It's so embarrassing watching them back. It really was.
But yeah, but hey, it's still pretty good, man. It's better than the ideas they've been throwing out lately. So
Yeah, I like the last one. The last one where I got the actual voice actors. I think that's the one I'm most proud of.
I miss the
'Cause
mega
it's not just me
reviews.
going, oh no.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should do the mega reviews more.
Well,
The
what's funny
Ego
about
one is
that?
the best.
Yeah, what's funny about that is right now, I make movie reviews also and try to talk about film topics and try to I've been getting a handle on what type of content to do. And once I take like a little break, I'll come back with actual set way to do my videos. So it'll be more defined and more with purpose and better thumbnails, better everything, just to refine it. And I'm working on a skit trilogy called The Rookie's Test. And I'm using a lot of YouTubers that I've met, like 40 YouTubers basically that I've contacted to have little tiny cameos in it, like just little parts and interact with, and trying to cut that together and make it look like I'm fighting other versions of myself and whatnot. So I'll be posting that pretty soon, as well as a Last Jedi review that I'm doing.
If you want some sound bites from me, I can give you some now. Hey, look out! Put that down! Ah, I'm dying. There you go. I don't know. You can
That'd be
put
fun.
that in somehow.
I'll put it in a random spot. What? Just look around. Bandit yelling at you.
Well, thanks so much for coming, the Rookie Critic. Catch you later, man.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. Tuglian.
Okay.
There you go, mate. Thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, this is my first time. I've actually listened to the podcast a while ago. I started listening to yours in like 2015. And then there was this like small streak where like Trilby and Trey would always be on, but you would like never be there. And I swear, like, because I would like wait for those podcasts like every week. And then, and then like I felt like I like skipped like 20 minutes in to see if you listened, and then if you weren't there, I just wouldn't listen to the podcast. I'd go to I would go to another. I would go
Well,
to
see,
another
the
podcast.
difficulty with that podcast is it was so much fun with those guys, and I think the three of us, it was like a good sort of triangle of sort of energy and different opinions. Because I hate podcasts where like everyone's got the same opinions. So that's why sometimes in the podcast I deliberately pick the opposite side, just so that any listeners so everyone listening has someone representing their viewpoint. So I play devil's advocate sometimes, but it was like the time zones were brutal. Like, like you can line up Australia and America. Like here in Australia, it's like 2:45 p.m. and it's like nighttime there in America. It's like 3 a.m. in Britain. So it was like we were constantly cycling around the times and all that. And Trilby, his work shifted. So he's like, I can't get up at like 2 a.m. for the movie mania anymore. We're like, it's okay. So I did send Trilby the Google Hangouts for this, just on the odd chance he might have been awake at like 3 a.m. and decided to check his email and he'd find it there. So
Yeah, I do want to say that I really liked your Martian Manhunter video from like way back, because he is like one of my favorite heroes. They're making a new comic series about him, so you should definitely check that out to support that. But I just appreciate.
If they're rebooting the DC universe, that's a character they could start from scratch with right there.
Yeah, he has a lot of people kind of sleep on how great of a character he is, and like especially Grant Morrison's Justice League from the '90s was an excellent showcase on why he's such a great character. Yeah.
I kind of imagine. I think, like, in Avengers: Age of Ultron, I think Vision's attitude in that, I was like, that's probably the closest you could get to like a movie version of Martian Manhunter. I'd be like, so in my mind, I just imagine Vision in that movie as Martian Manhunter. I'm like, that really fits. Yeah, I could see him doing that.
Yeah, but they nerf him in Civil War, so then that would make him seem like terrible.
That's true. Yeah,
that's the worst problem about Martian Manhunter. One minute he's the most powerful hero ever, and then the next minute a writer may not like him, and then he's like gets beat by like Hawk Girl or like Black Canary or something. Yeah, that's the worst way. If they ever made a comic like a final comic for Martian Manhunter, have you ever read Silver Surfer Requiem?
No, what's that about?
It's like the Silver Surfer, like the cosmic, the power cosmic that Galactus gave him is starting to wear away. So he's like it's very similar to All Star Superman, but it came out before it. And so he like is making a final trip around like Earth and like the galaxy, and it's this really great comic. Have you Esad Ribic, who did the art for like Jason Aaron's Thor, and he did like Secret Wars and all that kind of stuff. He like paints the whole thing. It's like this whole painted comic, and it's like it's pretty like short, only like 4 issues, but it's really good. And if they ever did like a Martian Manhunter story, like I always thought that like doing that as a base template, but like exploring the idea that Mars is like a brain and all of the Martians are like the brain cells. And so the reason why Jean is so powerful is because he's like the last brain cell, and like the white Martians are now like the brain cancer, and like so like just playing with that that idea, because in Martian Manhunter 1,000,000 he goes back to Mars and like fuses with the planet and becomes more powerful than ever. So like maybe play with the idea that Mars isn't like just this rock planet, but it's more of like a living organism, and the Martians were like an extension of that organism. I feel like that would be a really good idea to like revamp the character without adding some weird quirk that isn't really necessary to him.
He'd be great, and I always wanted Lawrence Fishburne to be Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, that'd be so good.
Then they cast him as the newspaper guy, and I was like,
yeah,
well, Martian Manhunter is a shapeshifter, so technically you could be taking on the mannerisms of that guy, so you could still do it.
Especially Lawrence Fishburne right around.
I actually want that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, just imagine that voice coming out of Martian Manhunter's green face.
Lawrence Fishburne, right around the time The Matrix came out, would be a perfect casting for that.
Yeah, that would be
like right around because he was still doing like action at that point. He was still able to like be like fit and that sort of thing. I would
You could still use him just when the action
Yeah.
scenes come. It's a guy with a green face. You could just put it like some martial artist in there. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
that's true.
it's like the Daredevil actor. You know, once the mask
Mhm.
goes on, some guy
Yeah,
who
it
knows
could be
martial arts
anybody.
still. You
At
know?
this point, they could just CGI Martian Manhunter completely. They could do a
Yeah.
shapeshift from Perry White to Martian Manhunter and then just do that completely. I mean, Thanos looked really good. And, I mean, DC clearly doesn't quite have CGI as good as Marvel does, but...
Like anywhere near
You know?
the Love Save Marvel.
Yeah, like
Right.
oh yeah, like Steppenwolf. You thinking of him? Yeah. you know the saddest thing about Steppenwolf is they got that actor who's like what's her name from Game of Thrones?
Syrian
He-
Hines or something
Syrian
like that.
Nine.
Yeah, he's got that fantastic villain voice, but they put so much effects to it, you couldn't even tell it
They
was him.
drown out his entire face and all
Yeah.
his emotions. He just looks like some Play-Doh villain monster
What's the
thing.
point of getting that actor in that role
It's
if you're
so
going to make it
jarring.
unbelievable?
Okay,
Yeah,
so really
it's like
quick,
you could have
there's
just
a
got some
scene-
guy off the street and it would have been the same.
Exactly.
There's a scene in Justice League where Hippolyta is like trying to get the mother box away from Steppenwolf, and he's saying like, "Soon you will love me." And I swear they do a close up on his face, and he looks like a baby, like his eyes, and the way his eyes look, and the way like his mouth, and like the way he says it, he looks like a baby. It's hilarious.
Well, it was good. It's great having you on too, Glenn. When we
All right,
talk
thanks
about
so much.
when we talk about Bumblebee, I have to have you on again. That'll be
Yeah,
awesome.
that'll be
because
great.
you're the Transformer expert.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
I don't know about the expert. I don't want to label
Hey,
myself that. I'm gonna get
Totally.
Well, you got a Transformer
Mhm.
avatar as your thing.
Oh, yeah,
so
Do you
that counts.
do you read Short Packed at all?
Did it say that again?
Do you read Short Packed at all? The webcomic?
No, I don't. I actually
Ah.
was writing my own comic for a while, but I haven't worked on it in a while.
You should just Google Short Packed. I forget what the author's or the artist's name is, but any Transformer nerd will totally love that comic. It's great.
2 separate words.
It's just
it's
one
one-
word. Short Packed meaning like when a Toy Story, a toy store doesn't shelve enough of a certain unit, and so that unit then becomes really popular, or you know, for the collector's market. Basically, the whole story centers around a toy store. Character's a tremendous Transformers nerd, so there's a lot of meat there for sort of jokes about collectors, jokes about Transformers, the whole bit. It's good stuff.
Oh, that'll be great. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Thank you.
All right, great to have you too,
Yeah.
All right, see ya.
Glenn. Catch you around, mate. See ya.
All right.
Okay, see, I'm working like in reverse order. Jack is like, like first in, first out, that kind of thing. So, Afij, thank you so
Yes.
much for
Right.
coming on.
Yes. Pardon my English. I don't usually speak English. I'm Malaysian. And-
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I have the same reason like how Tuglian saw how he was interested in you guys, and the podcast. I was very driven into the podcast. The first episode I listened, and
wow.
the problem was that once you would accept questions. I didn't have time to put my own question because the time zone was so different. I was still asleep. It would be for you. It's 2 p.m. now, right? And for me it's 11. It's like 11:53 like that. So it's like the perfect time
So,
for
but
me.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
So now,
But yeah, that was always difficult
yeah.
when we ask for listener
Exactly.
questions. But sometimes
Yeah.
we forget to ask, so we have to do it while we're recording, and then it's like, people don't have time. So
Yeah.
well, I'm glad I've finally been able to chat to you.
Yeah, and I wish I could come next time because I would love to talk about how like Malaysians think about the mainstream movies, because they have a very different opinion. Like a lot of them aren't really interested in DC even from the start, even from the beginning. I think only Batman they were interested in, and they're just mad about Marvel. They're very interested in Marvel, and they really like the Transformers movies and all that. So they have this very different.
I saw you disappear, Jack, for a second there. I was like, what? What's going on?
They have this very different viewpoint in movies. So
Sure.
and the maybe I can put in some a viewpoint like how the Asian region would view in these movies like that.
Can I ask, in Malaysia?
Yes.
Like out of all the American movies that come out, which ones seem to be the most popular in, say, Malaysia?
They absolutely love Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't like Star Wars anymore. I think Star Wars isn't that hyped up now.
Yeah.
And not many people watch Solo. I think people still cheered when The Force Awakens came out. And I think almost every horror movie is very popular here. Every horror movie, including The Nun. All the bad horror movies also are really popular here.
Do you guys get in Malaysia? Do they ship over like some of the Indian movies or some of the Chinese movies, or is it mostly just the American ones?
Yes, they ship in the Indian movies, especially the Indian movies, the Bollywood movies. We get that very early. We get Japanese movies also. We get anime movies. And the problem with Malaysian right now is that it's kind of like China, where people will just steal movies.
Yes,
because it's so abundant, we can just.
That's absolutely disgraceful. I don't know what kind of a person.
We're like in the middle of everything right now. So when we take in all these movies, I think we don't take indie movies. Like I didn't get Malaysia didn't get what's the movie called? We didn't get the disaster artist. We didn't get that.
Yeah,
we got it very late.
It seems to be like, overseas in predominantly non-English speaking countries, the action movies do really well. Like Fast and Furious and the Transformers, they've really. But that was the case all the way back. Like I remember, that's one of the reasons why Schwarzenegger in his heyday was so good, because the action movies just did really well, like in non-English speaking countries as well.
Yeah, and
like,
they don't.
Why do you think it is? Do you think it's just because like punching people and gunfire is sort of like the universal language? We're all like, yeah.
It's
totally
it's kind of like that,
translates.
and the humor is also very different, because a lot of my friends, like my non-speaking Malay friends and all that, they're not really interested in like Blade Runner. They're not interested in those psychological dramas. They're very attracted to just explosions, and the comedy is very slapstick comedy, the very unironic comedy, all that. The ones that make
I'll tell you what. I saw some a friend of mine, one of my old roommates, he was Korean, and he showed me all these Korean comedy movies.
Yeah.
My God, that was some of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Some of the comedy movies that come out of Asia are fantastic. It's so good. And it was like, I saw on Netflix the other day, there was that Chinese movie, Wolf Warrior 2. I was like, I've been looking for that. And I watched it and I was like, that was really interesting. Just sort of,
what I appreciate about the new Asian movies, the action movies, is that almost all of them are done by almost all of them are done by the actors themselves, like The Raid, like for example. And you have even some Malaysian movies, they do this sort of stuff, and they're slowly picking up. Last time, I think it was a decade ago where it was kind of not doing so well here, the movie industry here. But now it's picking up the pace, especially how Malaysians are like getting a little bit more recognition ever since Crazy Rich Asians. And although this sounds a little bit pandering, but me as a Malaysian, I'm pretty proud of that. I can't deny that. Although it does sound a little bit political, all that stuff, and I
understand how you feel. Yeah, I feel the same as an Aussie, because Aussies, like, we're like the small country, so whenever we get a
it's like, oh, they noticed
that was us.
Yes, it was us. Oh, I know that reference. Oh, Henry Golding, I want you to be Superman.
Well, thanks for coming on.
No problem.
It was great to have you.
I
feel kind of bad because you came on and the call was absolutely crowded.
Nah,
so I was
no
like,
problem.
he's not
I was
wording
just
because there's so many people.
Yeah.
That's all right. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate your viewership, mate.
All right, thanks.
Thanks a lot. Catch you later, buddy.
Goodbye.
Wow.
See, I'm really
Suddenly
liking
the call is very quiet.
I was kind of getting like I was getting like overflowing with power with hitting the eject button. I was like, yes, the power. And it's like, even though I like all these people, I'm like, it's just a cool feeling, you know. Well, Jack, I saved you last because I thought if it's all right with you, do you mind if I show the cover for your thing?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. Let me just screen share. Do. Here it is. So, just so everyone knows, Jack here, he's designed this cover for me because, as you may or may not know, I wrote a book a very long time ago, and it's been sort of sitting around for a long time. And I thought, you know what, I'm finally going to put it out on Kindle. I'm recording the audio. I'm going to put it out on Audible. I thought I just need a cover, so I got Jack to design me this cover for me. And look at how good it is. Let me see if I can zoom in. Maybe you can't see with the. Where's the zoom in thing? Zoom in. It's not letting me. Oh, it doesn't matter, but you get the point. But yeah, he spent ages on this cover, and I'm so happy with it because the story is there's these two Australian brothers. You see them in the picture there, and they fly to England because they want to hit the Queen of England in the face with a water bomb of blue dye. And the Queen is Camilla. That's why you see this giant Camilla in the background. And Jack in the beginning, I was telling Jack the kind of National Lampoon style cover I wanted for the book, where it's like this goofy prank they're doing, but it's portrayed as like this epic quest. So Jack came up with the cover that you see here, and it's sort of modeled off the Star Wars kind of thing. Like you see a main character in the middle there, that would be like Luke with the lightsaber, and where the Emperor's head is like a giant head in the background, like looming, and all the soldiers, the stormtroopers down. So he modeled it off that. I'm very, very happy with it, guys. Very happy with it. So let me.
Wow. Sorry, I was in the chat there for a second. Looks like
I saw you've been having a flame war. That's all right. That's what the internet's for.
Oh no,
having a flame war.
There were no flame wars. It was great. No,
but that's
just people saying goodbye and asking final questions, and I think everybody agrees. Maura Feek, he was great. So hopefully he's available for the next live stream.
Yeah, he was very interesting to talk to. Like I liked hearing.
Oh
stuff from
it's great to
go ahead.
Get a perspective from a part of the world that I don't really like. There's not that much that gets exported from Malaysia to the U.S. I mean, we see some Bollywood movies. We see a few. We see Korean martial arts movies, but there just isn't that much that comes from that part of the world. So it's always interesting to get some viewpoint from there. And Americans in general are pretty self-centered, so it's good to just get a little reality check too.
It's like that Bill Burr comedy sketch where he's like, that's why you should hang out with everybody. He goes, because every race has something that they don't know about. So you hang out with different races, you understand everything. He's like, white people don't know about lotion. You hang out with black people, then you realize all about. He's got this whole comedy sketch about how he was dating this black girl and he found out about lotion from her. And
Oh yeah.
I was watching it, I was like, really, ashy skin? That's a thing? I had no idea, but apparently it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I guess with white people, you can't tell.
I went to an almost entirely black elementary school and middle school, so I grew up in West Oakland, which is like 70% black, I think, and mostly Latino and Asian is the rest. Like there were no other white people, but in general, that's not something that I think most white people know.
News to me.
Silly enough.
But yeah, that's true. So like you said, yes, it's good to have that international flavor because, that's why I watched Wolf Warrior 2. It was so interesting to see sort of like the Chinese view of the world. And granted, Wolf Warrior 2, it's a propaganda piece for the Chinese Communist government, but it was fascinating. It was fascinating to sort of see.
But even that's pretty valuable too. I mean, just sort of understanding what the sort of official position of the Chinese government is, because I don't know if we even get very much of that. Like China comes across as pretty mysterious. We get these, stupid sort of trade war stuff and, articles about the various secrecy or censorship in China, but we don't really get that much understanding of what the Chinese government thinks of itself, what's the world to think of it, those kind of things. So even a propaganda film can be pretty informative.
Yeah, well, I found it really fascinating because Wolf Warrior 2, it's set mostly in Africa. Because as you may or may not know, like China's actually all over Africa at the moment. I mean, mind you, they say like because 1 out of every 5 people on Earth. Yeah, because China's hungry for resources. So they're making all these deals in Africa where like they can mine for resources in exchange for keeping up the infrastructure and all this kind of stuff. So like Wolf Warrior was like the communist Chinese governments, how they want you to view them in Africa. And it's kind of like, we're here doing what the Americans couldn't. We're fixing Africa. And I'm like, well, you also just kind of want to get the resources. You're not exactly, doing this out of the goodness of your heart. It's an exchange, but it was fascinating to see. Yeah, it's actually quite a good movie, Wolf Warrior 2. The guy who
I'll
played,
definitely check it out.
There's a great bit at the end where there's the bad guy, who's the same guy who played Crossbones in Civil War. You know that guy?
Oh,
Who was
right.
the Hydra guy, where he had his face all
I forget
shredded.
his name, but he's kind of a cult actor. Like lots of people seem to really like him.
Well, he sort of plays the bad guy, and there's a bit at the end where the Wolf Warrior guy is fighting him, and they're like wrestling over the knife, and the bad guy's sort of that bit where like he's like slowly edging the knife to their chest, and they're like, that bit in movies. So he's doing that, and the bad guy's like, people like you will always be inferior to people like me. And of course, then he does the hero bit where the hero does the bit where he rallies his strength and he flips him over and he gets the knife and he like stabs the bad guy with it. And then he goes, "That's history." And I was like, ooh, that's a good line. I like that.
Yeah.
That was a very, very action hero-y kind of line. Like, that's history, man. I was like, nice. Good job, China. That's pretty interesting. But yes.
Well, I think, they also learn quite fast. Like, just looking at Chinese movies of the last, 5 years or so, like they look very much more like Hollywood movies. Like they're picking up the storytelling techniques and everything else really quickly for a country that doesn't have the 100-year-long film tradition that the U.S. does.
They have a pretty long film tradition, though. Like they do have Chinese films going way back, yeah.
I think it only goes back to about the 1940s or 50s, though. There might have been stuff just before the Communist Revolution, but there wasn't like a significant film studio system or anything, before 1954.
So anyway, I was supposed to be plugging your artwork. So I showed you that.
Well, that's all right.
So that's because if you want any artwork done, if you want any logos designed, you want any covers done, anything like that, I'm going to be putting some ads for him in upcoming videos. This one doesn't count. There's going to be ones on top of this. But yeah, so I'll put a link in the description if you want any work done with Jack. Just wanted to give you that shout out, Jack.
Awesome.
And thanks for all of our listeners, everyone who joined in, all of you guys in the chat. Absolutely love you guys. I'll have to scroll back up and see what you guys were saying when I was doing the live review, because I have no idea what anyone's saying during the live review, because I do the screen sharing so I can show the pictures, but then I don't know what's happening in the chat.
Right.
Could be anything. People could be posting all kinds of stuff. They could be putting some kind of internet enchantment on me. I don't know. It could be anything. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for coming. Thank you, Jack, for coming.
Thanks. That was fun.
It was. It really was. Trey didn't show up. I don't know what happened with him, but that's all right. I'm sure it'll come.
Oh, well.
Sure it'll come later. Okay.
Next time.
Well, can I just hang up, or do I have to eject you first? I'm going to eject you just for the power trip.
All right.
Power! Do you want to...
Do it.
do you want to say anything first? Or?
Oh, just, follow me on Instagram. Cast Iron Carousel. All right. Bye, everybody.
Okay, see you, mate. Eject! Oh, yeah, it feels so good. Okay, so, yes, once again, thanks to all you guys in the comment section. That was so much fun. I do think next time, though, I might keep it to just 3 people at a time, because when lots of people come in, it's like, it's difficult for everyone to talk. But then again, if some people are shy, it's like spotlight's not right on them. So I don't know. We'll just go with the flow. We'll go with how it feels. But yes, thank you. Thank you all of you for watching. And there'll be timestamps in the description below. I'm Bandit. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the comments.